Why you can't fix construction. In this video, I'm going to talk to you why, for all intents and purposes, you really shouldn't be able to fix construction, or why you really can't, and give you a mindset or a set of tools that will help you to actually move forward and make progress for anything that you do want to fix. So do you want to know why the system prevails, what the system is and why it doesn't work, and the key factors that keep it that way? If so, you've come to the right place. So let's get started. One of the first things that I want to talk about is the concept or the fact that the system protects the system. So construction in different eras, and by the way, you'll learn this in the book Built to Fail, has learned key things from different influencers and then implemented them. Learned and then implemented them throughout the history of construction. And those learnings were then turned into systems, and then the system is designed to protect itself. So that means there are checks and balances within it that reinforce it, that make it to where it perpetuates. So I love that quote. Always remember, the system will always protect the system. So if you go into the book Built to Fail, you'll hear about the different eras. Era 1 was essentially marked by Taylorism. It was the era of looking at how fast workers could go, segregating the different types of trades, making sure that we were actually counting, like how many nails somebody could pound inside of an hour, or how much work could somebody do in a certain period of time. It was the era of making workers go faster. And that era then perpetuated this concept, which is false. So it's actually the biggest mistake of the 21st century to think that when you add more people, you get more work done. That is completely false, and it's focused us on this concept of overburdening, rushing, and stacking people, right? The second biggest mistake of the century that deals with era 2, which you'll learn in the book Built to Fail, is that concept that if you add more managers, more leadership, more hierarchy, the more work you will get done. And that's false as well. So you have this concept of pushing workers and rushing people, and then also adding on layers of management, managers upon managers upon managers who manage managers, paperwork that monitors paperwork that monitors paperwork, all of this administration. So you have the disrespect for people, and then you have this concept of administration and not production. That's era 1 and era 2 in construction, and it has led us in the completely wrong direction. Okay, and those eras have been codified into systems that now protect themselves. So that is the situation that we are in. And if you read the book Built to Fail, you will also realize that we need to go into era 3, which is marked by the need for production systems and lean thinking, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So now I'm going to talk about what the system is, the different components, so you can see it and recognize it, and hopefully at your level of leadership within your company or within your region, start to take steps to change it, because there is hope. So let's start with number 1. I've already given you an overview, but the concept that you can push and rush workers and get them to go faster. It's simply not true, and I'm going to tell you why. So if you push and rush workers, you do not give them a buffer. You do not focus on the actual process. So there's this concept in lean thinking that says we do not blame people. Okay, we blame the process, we blame the system, and sometimes people are like, Jay Money, hey, like there's no way that you can actually just blame the process or the system. Sometimes you have people problems. So I've added the behavior of a person or the culture of the group, right? But that's still not blaming that person. You're not blaming who they really are, okay? So what Taylorism has done, Frederick Taylor in that era 1 type teaching, is taught us to focus on pushing and rushing people. That goes against everything that we know, because, oh, here's a great example that I want to share with you, which I'll share with you in other videos as well. But if you have a kink in a hose and you put more water pressure on it, does it go faster or slower? Does it get the kink out or not? If you put more water pressure on a kink, it might just ruin the hose. The water is not going to go through it faster. The water will go through the hose faster if you undo the kink, if you undo the bottleneck. The other thing is, there's a point at which if you go ahead and add pressure to that water above the capacity of the hose, it will actually take longer to get out the other end. This is also manifested in traffic examples. So it's not adding more people or pushing and rushing people that will get us to go faster. It's making work ready. And this is proven over and over and over, and we have to make sure that we're on the same page with this. So that is one part of the system or a mindset or a concept that we have to get out of when we're attempting to fix construction. The second one I want to talk to, and this is the last one that I'll mention twice, is this concept of administration. So the system now is designed in our current time span. The system is designed to protect itself. So now you have, like I said, you have mid-level managers that have managers that have managers that have managers. Everybody has their reports, everybody has their paperwork, everybody has their guidance in the systems they follow, their project management systems. Those positions, comfortable in that administration without having to do too much work, want those positions to exist. So all the time I'm telling people in the industry, hey, CPM or the critical path method does not work. We have a massive problem. But guess what? When you tell that to people who have made a career out of creating CPM schedules, who now are using that critical path method to analyze the so-called critical path, to do slippage reports, to do float trends, to do monthly narratives, to do all of this analysis, you have wasted work upon wasted work upon wasted work upon wasted work, and that system wants to protect itself because people don't like change and they've already built a career out of this. So if you have folks in those positions, they will want to protect those positions. I would. It's human nature. So that's a part of the system that we have to really watch out for. A lot of times we're just protecting our administration or our jobs instead of actually protecting the people again and the flow of the work. Number three, one of the things that we should all be aware of is that our contracts are really designed to put us into like so-called knife fights. Meaning like our contracts are written, it almost feels like our contracts are written to put rival gangs in a cage with knives in one of the worst parts of the country and then see what happens, right? Like everybody's incentivized to hurt each other, to damage the other person, to compete in toxic ways. We have in our industry a system now where a trade partner can come onto the project site and instead of being incentivized to work with other trade partners, literally fight with them, fight with the general contractor, focus on claims, he said or she said type scenarios, and only worry about their own profit. But that is myopic because really nobody wins unless everybody wins on a project site. Number four, and this is an easy one, the segregation of labor. Back in the day, in that era one with Taylorism, there was this concept of not only segregating or separating the different trades into their own companies, into their own unions, into their own classes, into their own fields with specialization, but there was also the rise of the piece worker, which was supposed to incentivize them to go faster. And now, to do a task that one contractor could do in its entirety, like erecting a steel structure, meaning going ahead and designing it, detailing it out, fabricating the steel, delivering it, and actually assembling it and finishing the structure, now you need upwards of 15 different entities to design and construct that, and coordinating that amounts to a lot of waste. Number five, ignorance from builders. We have gone away quite a bit from general contractors who do their own self-performed work, who know how to build, into this CM world where they're literally just brokers, and the owner's rep and the construction manager and the designers and the building owner are not builders and don't understand how to execute the project, and hiring trades without the organization to actually pull them together. So having an industry where all of this is originated from people who don't understand is causing a part of the problem. Number six, budgets have reduced the ability for people to pay for relevant training in this industry, so that ignorance that I talked about in the last step prevails. And now in our industry, we're not even training our superintendents or PM because everybody's too busy and we don't have the money for it. We don't have the money for it in pre-construction. We don't have the money for it in our budget line items, and we don't have it on the job cost report as a code that somebody is not going to try and slash, right? Because it doesn't appear to be value add. So now we have a generation of so-called builders who actually are not trained. At this point, I think you understand what I'm talking about. You're brilliant and amazing. By the way, I value that relationship, and I hope that you subscribe to this channel so that we can stay together forever, as long as we do the channel, and as long as I'm alive, but I hope that you're here. But the bottom line is, I'm not here to create a comprehensive list. If I did, it would be an hour long or 2 or 3 or 4 hour long video with hundreds and hundreds of items. These are just some representative examples. I could also add a systematic disrespect for people born out of Era 1, government contracts that epitomize Era 2 with administration and managers upon managers that use the wrong systems and really handcuff the builders. 3, this concept of people and companies wanting the lowest bid, which incentivizes contractors to spend the least amount of time on their project and have the least trained people on their project. A systematic disconnection between designers and builders. Design, bid, build contracts, which rush and push contractors. Corporate systems that do not allow innovation. Classical management, which has been codified in the Project Management Institute's Project Management Book of Knowledge, the PMBOK, and other administrative textbooks that have basically forced people into a distant, disconnected management style, and many, many others. So I don't want to create an inclusive or a comprehensive list, or all-inclusive or comprehensive list. I want to create a mindset. When you are looking at why things are not better, it's not a person to blame, and it's not a thing that's going wrong. It's the system, and if we're ever going to fix it, the leaders have to change the system once they have authority to change it. Because remember, the system will always protect the system. You have to have leaders that understand the right mindset, the right goal of the system, which in this case is to create a production system that respects people, the right structure and the right rules. And once you have that, then you can change the system, then you can fix construction. And until we actually fix the systems and the governing bodies that regulate those systems, we will not make any progress. And so I want your help to actually put a dent in this. So let's work on this together. In the description below, I'm going to give you a Canva graphic of the things that you can specifically do to start fixing that system and some of the things to watch out for as you do so. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.